Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at Stevens. This is a game about making glass in a glass factory, which is a popular theme, to be honest, from a Euro standpoint. Anyway, we're going to show you how this game plays from a solo standpoint, and I'll let you know what I think about it. Let's get started. Okay, folks, as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you have, I really do appreciate the support. Thank you very, very much. So Stevens is literally an engine building game. It is an engine building game in a very pure form, to be honest. And what you're doing in this game is you're taking two types of actions. You're either taking a disc out of your area over here and paying a fee, which is either going to be in, for instance, coins like this or influence like this. And you're paying that fee to put this card over in one of these three slots or these three slots, depending on the side of the card. And that sets up your engine. Okay, so basically what that is you're hiring these workers or something, whatever, to when you use the action there, anybody or the whole group of people who will be there will get to activate the benefits they want on the cards where they have a disc. Okay, and so that is how you're building your engine. Your engine consists of putting these craftsmen or whatever to work in these different factories. And when you activate the factory, later on, you'll reap the rewards. The other way your engine kind of works is you are investing in different cards over here that will allow you to, when you do a reset phase, activate each column or don't. So you'll have, for instance, I have a column plus one over here. So I could either activate all these cards or none of them, all these cards or none of them, etc. And what that would do is that would actually put cubes based on what I'm getting here and score me points. And then I would be able to distribute those cubes into these factories up here for different rewards. So to make a, like if I put a black and a pink cube here, I would make one of these goods, okay? And if I put a single black here, I would get a influence. But if I put all three here, I could take a card and pay for it from those bottom offers, etc. And so you're trying to, because you've invested here in this part of the engine, you will be stocking these factories with cubes, which you'll later be taking out throughout the game, okay? Now, the way that the game works is you will be, like I said, you're either pulling a cube or you're placing a disc. When you pull a cube, you will activate that space, and if there are people there, of course, I just talked about this, they will activate as well. But each of these things will do different things. This green spot right here, and actually all of these factories up here, simply work to activate these columns, these rows. But if you pull a white cube, you'll be able to, for influence, take a contract into your area here. And in doing that, you will then later on be able to spend whatever's required to put the contract in your contract area, helping you score points at the end of the game. Or you can, if you take this cube over here, you would pay money to take those investments and put them over here. Now, sometimes the investments require you to cut down natural resources, right? So in order to activate this one, you're going to have to move down on the forest track over here. And at the end of the game, if you move to the bottom of it and there's nothing left there, you can't activate that card anymore. But at the end of the game, if you have your tokens or your discs in this spot, that's 15 per side, 7 per side, or 0 per side. And you can rebuild them with some of these craftsmen on here. And so it's all an engine that kind of fills back into itself, all right? Now, the other thing, when you remove all these discs, you will either be removing scoring conditions for you for the end of the game or throughout the game, in this case, with this one in particular, or you'll give yourself more efficiency or more actions. These will be discounts. These will be ways to be able to play cards in different spots or swap them. The ability to take more than just one cube out of a factory when you take from these upper factories. And so these little rewards are a part of the game as well, making your engine better or allowing you to score at the end of the game. Now, this is a conditioned-based victory game when it comes to the Automa. And it's kind of interesting. So first of all, you can play the normal like game without any scenarios or anything like that. And you can play it on what they call loose, normal, or tight. And the loose method means you have a longer game. The normal is a medium length game. The tight is a shorter game, okay? So you will do this based on how long you want to play. And that also then at the end has to do with the kind of scoring conditions you would qualify for. So for instance, if I'm in a loose game, which is the easy rank, the lowest victory condition is the 140. If you get 180, then you are a champ. And so they have a nice little matrix here to help you understand how to score that. However, you can play with these different scenarios or even these little campaigns, and they have you doing different things, different goals, etc., where they will require you, this is only for the solo game, they'll require you to meet some kind of victory condition in order to claim victory, or do other things in a series of games. And so you can play that style of game too to string things together or to change things up, which I find pretty interesting and gives the game some definite longevity. All right, let me demonstrate a couple of turns here. So basically, you're going to go back and forth with the AI, taking turns. The AI's turn is driven by this little deck of cards, which does have some peculiarities in it, and I will explain those in just a second. But when you take your turn, you just basically will either place a disc or take a cube. The discs are limited in the fact that you can never place more than 3 that are already out there. So see how he has 4 discs, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have, right now I have 6. I could place one more, but I'm not allowed to place another disc out there until he plays one. And that just keeps you from running away and making I guess making your engine so strong that it becomes out of whack with what the game can do. So let me go ahead and take a turn. So for instance, what am I trying to do? Well, I'd like to try to fulfill contracts down here that I've got stuff for. I already have a green and an orange cube from previous turns. I'm going to take this white cube right here, and I'm going to take this card. However, I get a -1 discount because I've already opened that up. So I don't have to pay the 2, I can just pay 1. I'm going to put this over here, and I only have to pay 1 influence instead of 2 to get that. Very simple. My turn is done. Really easy, right? And then we go ahead and refill the offer. There we go. What's he going to do? He's going to flip over this card, and he is going to try to take from the top section. But the top section is all exhausted with cubes, so instead he's going to take one of these from the bottom, starting in the spot where it says 5 and then going around. However, I got to point out, the numbers mean nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4 means nothing. 5, 6, 7, 8 means nothing. So please don't get distracted. The only thing you're focused on when you read this card is you start in the place where it's framed, then you go from that area throughout the card until you follow the arrow to the spot that it's over with. And if there are no cubes in here, then you would do the exact same thing in the arrows right here, and depending on where you pull, you would do whatever the action is on the side. You ignore this unless you're doing the production turn, and we'll show you how to do that. That's kind of like the reset phase, so to speak. So he's going to pull this green cube. When he pulls the green cube, he just discards it. Then he activates all of my workers. He never activates his own. He'll activate all of mine. So that means I can discard one of these white cubes for $3, which is good because I need the money. Let's do that. I can pay 2 influence to go up on the water track, but I'm already up on the water track. I can get another influence, another money. I got a lot of influence. I'll take another cash. Okay, so that's the end of it. Now, when 2 of these factories down here are exhausted, we will do the reset phase. I don't know why I called it the production phase, but it's the reset phase. Okay, and so in the interest of, let's see if I got what I need. So it would be nice if I had a red. However, I do have a special ability that says I could trade 2 for 1 in order to not have to pay the red. I need a way to get one of these. So in order to do that, let's see. I'd like to go a little longer before I pull the plug. The challenge is that any cube I pull on here, except for one of these, it's going to put up another situation, another contract. So that's not going to really help me. Actually, it will. Okay, I'm going to take this card. So I have two abilities. Number one, I can discard the top of this to slide things up before I take a card of my choice. Number two, I have the discount, right? So now I'll take this with the discount. It'll only cost me one influence. And that'll put my third contract. That's the most I can get between reset phases. Okay, and I'll do that because I took a white cube. Now, let's see what he is going to do. He is going to place an influence. Here's another peculiarity. Even though these are blue cards, they do not match the blue deck. They actually match the red deck. And so when you're playing, ignore that they're actually blue. Follow the shape and the configuration. This applies to these cards. The red will apply to the blue cards on the other side. So just be aware of that, okay? I got that clarified by the designer. So he wants to take this card, and in the highest spot, which is this one, which will be worth the most points if I could do it, he doesn't score, he will place one of his discs here, and that's his turn. And then we put one out here. And by the way, if you notice, I have some of these aren't sleeved. It's because the sleeves that I got, first of all, these cards do not fit in the sleeves that they tell you they fit in. So I ordered them directly from Capstone Games. Two of the packs fit. One of the packs did not. They're sending me some replacement sleeves because these cards are just printed too big. That's all there is to it. So be aware if you're a sleever. Try before you buy if at all possible. Okay. Now, so I'm going to end this round by taking one more cube. I'm going to take this cube right here, and I'd like to make this row a little better. And I have so much, I'm already doing so well on that spot. I'm going to take this one right here. It's worth 3 points, and it cost me 2, but I can do that discard thing like I just told you about. I can put this anywhere. And I'm going to do that so it only costs me 1. Now, I say I can put it anywhere because it has no cubes related to it. But if it did have a cube related to it, I'd have to be in a specific column here. So let me pay my coin. Because I've exhausted both of those factories, now we do a reset phase. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the French army, which is going to be the game marker, up to this space. Okay. Then I'm going to refill at a rate of 3 cubes. You'll never be able to see it from where you are, but very tiny on the board. It tells you how many cubes you can put in the ones that you've exhausted, and only those. So I put 3 green because we've exhausted that one. And I put 3 clear in this spot right here. Then we are going to remove any cubes that were in the small factories. There are none. Then I place the Autonomous cubes. So remember I told you about what the bottom does? The bottom says he wants to place 2 Automa cubes in this location and also place down another one of these according to this card right here. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just shuffle these up because he starts with 7 of each color. We'll pull 2 out. He wants to place them right there. He's going to place them just like that. Then he's going to take that turn that he just did. And he has an ability that he's unlocked, which I have not quite unlocked yet, that allows him to play this card, bending the rules a little bit so he doesn't have to have it cascaded. He can support it. So he's going to do that. He's going to place that right here. Okay. Now, we've done his stuff. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate my personal investments. So here I'm going to produce the goods shown. All right, one of these, and one of these. And I also get 3 points. 1, 2, 3. However, I have to pay 1 in the water track to do it. Then I am going to activate that. So I'm going to take 2 black. I have to pay 1 in the forest track and 1 in the water track, but I get 3 more points. 1, 2, 3. So now I will I'm going to place those down now and put them out in these areas. So I have a choice because I can work with all these, right? Remember I said I really want one that's going to fit the chandelier? That means I want to place something here or here that fits the bill. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these 2 over here. I'm going to take a chandelier. I'm going to use that for this tile. So this is just in my personal supply. Then I think, based on what I've got going on here, the best thing to do would be to grab another one, to be honest. And I don't know, coming up here, maybe the box. So I'll get that crate or whatever the heck it is. And then one more black. I will put it down right here for $1. Okay? So now I have restocked those areas. And the rest of this doesn't matter for the rest of the regular turns. You're just going to be pulling these and activating, okay? And let's say you wanted to get in on a card that the other player, the Automa, has built. You can place there for free. You won't score any points for that, but it will allow you to get in on that action and take that activity at the time when it's activated. Okay, so now we do the fulfill contracts, which means everything that I have on my board I can pay. Notice when I produced, I had to put it out here. You can only get it on the board when you take throughout the game. So I can put this one out here, pay 1 white cube. I can put this one out here. They have to match these spots. Oh, by the way, I should have gotten 1 point when we did the reset phase because of my unlocked bonus. So I put that out there. I discard these 2. And then I have the chandelier. I have a white, but I don't have the red. That's okay. I can spend 2 for 1 cube of anything over here to get the red. And I think it's any cube. It's not just one translucent. If it's one translucent, that would stink. But let me look it up real quick to be sure. I always seem to find these things that I I need to clarify while I'm doing my videos. But it just says, yeah, 2 the same color as a replacement for any one of the other colors. Okay, so I could do 2 whites for 1 orange. Or sorry, 1 pink. Boom, that's there. It's fulfilled. There we go. We've done the reset. And then we would just continue on. So we're going to keep playing until this moves to that spot. And then when that happens, the game, they'll do one final reset phase, and then the game will be over. And then you'll look at your score, and you'll compare it to see how you did based on what the goal was. All right, let me tell you what I think about it. So Stevens is one of those games that definitely makes you feel like you are playing a classic Euro. In this way, a very simple to execute rule-wise game with a lot of options to be efficient and to try to tweak things. And the little actions matter in this game. So everything you do is going to be trying to get yourself more and more efficient. And the way you unlock things and what you spend your time on is all going to go into that. The one thing that this game would lack if it didn't have those solo goals is variety. Because what you see is what you get every time. It doesn't matter how you set up. Yeah, the cards come out variably, but who cares? The cards come out variably. It's all very similar kind of stuff. And so I would say that from a variety standpoint, this game would not have it unless it was for those campaign goals and everything else. So if you want to get the variety, it is good to use either to play the campaign or do the scenario or whatever else that makes it specific. You're trying to do a certain thing, and that will lend to more variety in the game. You know, it's like playing a game of Cascadia or any of those types that have all those different conditions how to win, right? The game itself has some variety in it, but it's the same type of game every time you play, no matter what, unless you put in some kind of condition. And for that reason, I think it's good that it has that, because if it didn't, I don't think this game would probably last on my shelf more than a couple of plays, because I would have experienced everything that it would have given me. Yeah, I might try to get more high scores and everything else, but just in general, the game is I'd say, too vanilla without that, in my opinion. Now, with that, I see that I definitely have the draw to try those different things. And I haven't tried them all by any means yet, but I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. And so that is what I think will help me to enjoy this as a solo game going forward. Now, the actual Automa and how it works, very simple. It triggers. It's great. I do think, and I probably won't ever play this with multiple players, just because I don't play a lot of multiplayer games anymore. But I do think, and I've heard it said that this game probably shines when you have 3 or 4 or 5. There's no 5, I'm sorry, 3 or 4. I'm going to guess that some of that's there, but not nearly as much as some people make it out to be, in my opinion. Like when you play Puerto Rico with multiple people, there's so much that happens to you. Here, it's just, if someone takes this, it'll activate your workers over here. It'll activate your workers over there. it's still pretty constrained. So you still feel that, I think, when you're playing with the Automa. I mean, they're activating you in a random area. You don't exactly know when it's going to happen. When it does, it's like, oh, okay, good. I get a bonus from that. So there's a little bit of the idea that if I want to spread out everything I do that they do, I will get a little bit of something. But if I don't want to spread out, if I want to focus, then my turns get bigger. And so there is some interesting tension there. And also the way the game scores, I think, is kind of interesting. I didn't go through that, but you could take a look at that. Basically, you're going to get a lot of the scores for what you unlock. And so you do want to kind of focus your efforts in one thing or another versus just trying to spread it all out, because it'd be 1 point per influence, 1 point for every 2 coins, 1 point for every 2 cubes. Well, you're not going to want to finish the game with abundances of everything. You probably want to invest in some and then maybe hold back others. So that's going to help you kind of tighten up and go for those high scores. But also where you put your craftsman. The higher you can put your craftsman, you're going to get 1, 3, or 5 points, 5 at the top tier, when you're up higher on the board from where those where the factories are. And of course, trying to use the land, then repair it through your craftsman is important, because that part will help you get those points from the investment, which you saw, but then you'll get the final points for being up in the 15s. So interesting game for sure. I just do think it plays a little close to the vest from all the variety and things I've experienced. However, I think there's plenty of gameplay in there when I try to look at each of the scenarios and try to accomplish them. The other thing I will say this is that for the most part, I think this is one of those games where once you've learned it, you pretty much will remember it. So it'll be easy to get back to the table in several months or a year, because it's not too tough on the rules. You will be able to pull it back out and play it without having to be like, oh my gosh, I got to relearn so much. And that's important. I especially think it's important, especially a game like this, where there are multiple conditions and multiple things, because you're going to want to get back into it and then learn that little twist and figure out that little twist to play it differently here. Sometimes, for me at least, if I've got to learn a very heavy game again, I don't have the brain power for the twist at that point. And then once I've played it, now I'm ready for the twist, but now I put it back in the shelf because I want to play something else. So I think that this one, with the complexity level and with that, not the complexity, the ability to pick it back up after a while, will be very approachable for that. So I appreciate that too. So some positives, some negatives. It's not nearly a slam dunk like, oh my gosh, you have to run out and get this game. If you like styles of games like this one will have exactly what I'm saying and no more. If you don't, if you want more variety, if you want more things going on in any particular game, this is probably a pass for you. So that's what I think about it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, everybody. And whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.